Hello children, Shubha teacher here. I am back to you with the fifth video of chapter Seed, Structure and Function. Till now, you have learned about the basic structure of seed and the process of germination as well as the experiments on germination which we discussed in the video 4. I had also given you an activity to perform, the 3-bean experiment. I hope you did it at home and you keep observing its growth, the difference in the germination of the 3 seeds further. Let's move on to understand the types of germination. Now, before we talk about the 2 types of germination, I would like to make you recall the 2 terms epicotyl and hypocotyl. Look at this figure. These are 2 cotyledons or seed leaves. The point of attachment of the cotyledons from here, this is the embryonic axis. Alright, from this point till the true leaves are arising from plumule, this portion is called as epicotyl. And the cotyledons from here till the actual roots which are growing here, that is radicle which has turned into root, from the radical part till the point of attachment of cotyledons, this part of the embryonic axis is called as hypocotyl. So we need to understand the position of epicotyl and hypocotyl to understand the 2 kinds of germination. So now let's come to the 2 germination, hypogeal germination and epigeal germination. Now when you break the word, hypo means below, geo means ground. When the cotyledon remains below the ground, it is called as hypogeal germination. Now, what happens that the cotyledon remains under the ground? Now, the growth of epicotyl and hypocotyl differs, and therefore germination becomes of 2 kinds. Hypogeal germination is in which the epicotyl elongates more. Now, epicotyl is which part? The point from the cotyledons till the actual leaves are growing up, that is the plumule. This part, when grows more, it pushes the cotyledon below the ground. So such a germination is called as hypogeal germination. In hypogeal germination, epicotyl elongates more than hypocotyl. Another point is cotyledons remain under the ground. Now, opposite is in epigeal germination. When you break the word epigeal, it is epigeo, that is above the ground. Cotyledon moves above the ground. If you see this figure, here the cotyledons are here above the ground. Now, how is it that cotyledons came above the ground? The hypocotyl elongates more in this case than the epicotyl, due to which the cotyledon is pushed above the ground. So thus epigeal germination is the kind of germination in which hypocotyl elongates more, and another point is cotyledon moves above the ground. Hypogeal germination is seen in pea plant and gram seeds, and epigeal germination is seen in castor and bean plant. There are more examples, but you need to keep at least 1 or 2 examples in your mind. Next, let's see the diagram and understand the kind of germination in pea plant. Look here. Now, in this case, what do we see? I had told you 2 things to keep in mind to understand the 2 kinds of germination. The position of the cotyledon, and with that only you will understand what kind of germination it is, and then you can state that which part of the embryonic axis grew more, epicotyl or hypocotyl. So here you see the cotyledons are below the ground. It means which part elongated more? The epicotyl elongates more. And such a germination is hypogeal germination. So thus, germination in pea seed is hypogeal, in which epicotyl elongates more and cotyledon remains under the ground. Let's see germination in bean seed. In bean seed, we see the cotyledon has come above the ground. It means hypocotyl elongates more in bean seed. Therefore, cotyledon moves above the ground. So, the kind of germination in bean seed is epigeal germination. So, epigeal germination, hypocotyl elongates more, cotyledon goes above the ground. Now, let's see germination in maize grain. Now, here you need to identify yourself. All right. Look at the cotyledon and the growth of epicotyl and hypocotyl. Could you guess? So now let's see. Cotyledon here is remaining under the ground. It means which part of the embryonic axis grew more? The epicotyl grew more. When epicotyl grew more, see here you can see it's very clearly shown. Here the radicle and plumule had started growing, and here the epicotyl grew more, taking the leaves, and therefore leaves are more growing, forming the leaves here. Epicotyl has grown more, therefore cotyledon remains under the ground, and hypocotyl is still very short, and immediately roots are formed from the radicle. Right? So, germination in maize grain is what kind of germination? It is hypogeal germination. Now let's move on to understand another kind of germination, that is viviparous germination. It is seen in few plants. Now let's understand what it is. When seed germinates inside the fruit while it is still attached to the parent plant, it is called as viviparous germination. Now understand it very clearly. Normally what happens? Inside the fruit, seed grows. When fruit is plucked and seed comes out of the fruit, then after getting favorable conditions, it starts germinating. But here in this case, when the fruit is still attached in the parent plant, the fruit and seed from inside that fruit which is still attached to the parent plant starts germinating. See here, the fruit is still attached and it had started germinating. So such a kind of germination is called as viviparous germination. It is seen in mangrove plants. Here I have given you pictures of two plants, Rhizophora and Soneraceae, which show viviparous germination. Next we come to the seedling. After germination, slowly the plant keeps growing, and when a stage comes that the plant becomes fully independent of the stored food in it, then it is called as seedling. Now if you observe here, slowly the plant keeps growing, and internally when you see here till the plant grows this much tall, the roots are properly developed. Now the plant is independent. The cotyledons have fallen down. So no more stored food. Now the plant is itself absorbing water and minerals with the roots from soil, and the leaves are well grown to carry out photosynthesis process. So thus this stage of the plant is called as seedling, and it grows further to form a full-fledged plant. So with this, we have completed the chapter today. Let's do a recap of today's video. Today, you learnt about the two kinds of germination, epigeal and hypogeal germination. You came to know the germination process in pea plant, bean plant, and maize grain. And you also learnt about viviparous germination, and when after germination, the growing plant is termed as seedling. Alright, so that's all for today, children. In the next video, I will be discussing some important questions from the lesson. By then, give a reading to the lesson, go through these videos once again to become thorough with the chapter, and then we'll start with discussion of questions, important questions. Thank you, children, and stay safe.